Hey friends, welcome to the Victor Marks Podcast with Victor Marks, founder of All Things Possible Ministries. Welcome to the show where we bring you real conversations faced with life's hard truths, stories of redemption, and the latest from the front lines. Whether you're on the road, getting your day started, or finally settling in, we've got an exciting new episode planned for you. So let's dive in to today's show.
Joining us now is Victor Marks, who is a great friend and a true patriot, president of All Things Ministries, All Things Possible Ministries. Victor, you are live in Israel. Give us a frontline report.
I can tell you right now, it's worse than anyone can imagine. Today, I was at the festival field, and they're not allowing anybody in, but the relationships that we have with Special Forces commanders here with the IDF are extensive, and they are taking us to places so that we can tell the world, and America especially, what has happened. The unthinkable has happened, and I've asked the questions many Americans are asking, how? How could one of the best prepared nations, who their very border is a people group that want them dead, that want them extinguished. How could this happen? And you know what they're telling me? We underestimated them. That's the number one thing. And they came at them. These kibbutz they're these little communities that are set up, Charlie, and they normally have 10 weapons in each, with 50 rounds each for security. They thought the worst that would happen would be 5 to 10 Hamas terrorists sneak in to try to kill. That's what they had planned for. So when over 2,000 trained Hamas attackers rolled in, these terrorists, they absolutely overwhelmed even the soldiers and the security people, and it was wholesale slaughter. All the years we've been working with children who've been affected by terrorists, this is by far the worst I've ever seen, and that includes ISIS.
Wow. So Victor, just help me understand one part of this, and just so everyone knows, Victor Marks has done children rescues across the world, served in the military. You've seen a lot, and you know when geopolitical tensions are rising up. I want to get to that in a second. But just from your conversations, Victor, one part of the story that is confusing many Americans is how long the response was to some of these kibbutzes. Was it just that it was a high holy day and that unprepared, impenetrable, it was in the southwestern part of the country? I mean, just kind of build that out, because some of these kibbutzes did not receive aid or support between 8 to 20 hours.
Yeah. So I'm there in these kibbutzes. I'm visiting with soldiers who were there, families and children, and it's pretty mind-blowing. So one, they jammed their cell phones. The signals were jammed. Two, a lot of the internet was taken down. There were sophistications that were used again that made everyone really underestimate what was going to happen. And then from 6:30 in the morning to 10 or 11, there was no help. It was just a wholesale slaughter. So this was a long planned attack. And let me tell you how, intentional they were. Folks, I saw the kill list for some of these kibbutzes. I saw the names, where these people worked, what was their relationship to the government or the military, the names of their spouses and children, what house they were in, and a map. And they were very specific so that when they attacked, they had their plans. And Hamas is not using any electronics. Everything is handwritten. So there's no way to intercept. There was no forewarning on this. So a lot of the technology, the techniques and tactics and procedures that Israel had planned for absolutely did not happen, including when they were using paragliders to come in. So it was an overwhelming force that they could not reach. And again, again, no one was prepared. It would be equivalent to where you live in Arizona if 10,000 troops of, we'll just say Hamas, attacked the city, surrounded it, cut off the airport. This is a tactic they use. It's an overwhelming force, and your communications were shut down. So the Israelis, the special operations people, they admit they simply were taken off guard.
So, Victor, I want to zero in on one part of this, and you're so amazing to join us. I know you're right on the front lines. Just talk about, that's 2,000 people that invaded, and there was a little bit of communication and chatter that they were looming up defenses the night before. But this, and from your own personal expertise, Victor, this had to be with some sort of military planning. This was not a group of gangs and a group of young men that just wanted to go to Israel and kill Jews. The fact they kept this quiet without Mossad intercepting it, of 2,000 people, can talk about this is big government stuff, right? This is sovereign, state actor type stuff is what I'm getting at.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, from personal knowledge, firsthand experience, they had weapons and resources from North Korea. They had anti-tank devices that were given to Ukraine, but found their way here. So this is much bigger than people think. And you're absolutely right. This isn't some ragtag group of thugs that people originally thought. They were well-trained. They were very patient. They were very specific in the messages of how to communicate and then how to execute. And Charlie, America needs to know that we are in the same place Israel is, but I will tell you, I think worse. Because you can't have over 2 million people come into our country that aren't tracked, that have ties with radical factions, without something being planned. That is going to happen. And I know very good friends who think we're a day late and a dollar short. But me seeing, here's what I don't want people to forget. I'm seeing the effects of what these evil monsters do. I was walking in children's blood today. I saw how they attacked, and I saw how merciless they were. These are monsters. I mean, monsters. Shooting children, killing their parents in front of them, taking them hostage, raping older women. One case was so horrible, they broke her pelvis. They're cutting people's heads off. They were bringing beheaded IDF soldiers' heads to the hostages and saying, no one's coming for you because we've killed them.
Victor, I want to just ask one part of a follow-up here. Did you say that American weaponry given to Ukraine was then somehow found its way into the hands of Hamas to kill Jews?
There are, and I don't want to tilt my hand too much on intelligence, but there are definitely weapons in Ukraine that found their way here. And there's something far greater than what people realize that's going on. And I want to say this because it's very important. The people who are protesting and saying free Palestine, I love Palestinians. I love Muslims. I have a track record of that. I still have a home in Iraq. I've been into Palestinian-controlled areas. And this is a pivot, but it's very important because we're fighting an information war. It's a psych ops. And people who will not denounce Hamas in the United States should be put on a terror watch list because it is a violent, horrific terrorist group that, unless our government takes swift action, we're going to pay a huge price that I don't think most Americans are ready for.
So, Victor, I want to keep you for another segment here, and you've done child rescues all across and I'm not going to ask you to add too much detail, but I think it's important, the best you can, to remind our audience the demonic nature of this, because the whitewashing on behalf of the media really bothers me. I'm a stickler for truth, right? And I'm not an apologist for either side. Yesterday, I sent out a tweet, and the Israeli government responded about, hey, some Christians died in Gaza. What happened here? But what really bothers me, Victor, is I recently got in a dialogue on one of these campuses. They said, when Israel was attacked, like, hold on, no. This was not a military attack. Okay, this was not like a bombing of some base. And I want Victor, without getting too graphic for our audience, understanding the sensitivities, in the next segment, build out how just unspeakable the horrors were here. But also, people, if you want to support Victor on the front lines in Israel, Victor, how do people do that? What is the website?
Please go to victormarks.com, where we are providing trauma healing tools for children. Thousands of children need to be able to hold these to lower their anxiety. They have music and prayers in them, and this is one way we can really help children.
Victor Marks is doing God's work. He's right there, by the way. We'll show that picture in a second, guys. Can we put it up there? He was right on the Gaza border praying over it, praying for a liberation of that demonic spirit, because that is what...
Last night.
Yeah, a demonic spirit has taken over the land of Gaza. Victor, stay right there. Victor Marks is with us. Can we put that picture up, please, of Victor in front of the Gaza border? Victor, about 45 seconds in this segment. Victor, explain to us what's going on here.
This is overlooking Gaza, where you see the highlight. And me and a colleague on our team who's a former MARSOC Marine, we got to the top of a building and a rooftop, and we stood there and prayed. And another friend, Chuck Holton, actually took this photo. The demonic forces that are fueling Hamas is what people need to be really aware of. And again, that's the highest level of spiritual warfare. We had drones over us, and then we had an Apache helicopter as they were going into Gaza. Prayer is what's going to make the difference. And believe me, some people need to be killed, but prayer will make the difference.
Amen. Victor, stay right there. This is a spiritual battle. There's Victor Marks literally praying to lift that demonic stronghold. Victor, stay right there. Email us freedom@charliekirk.com. Victor Marks continues with us. Victor is one of my favorite people on the planet. He's always been there for me and consider him a mentor and friend. Victor, some things defy reason. Reason is a gift from God, as it says in Isaiah 1, let us reason together. But sometimes you see things and encounter things that defy rationality. What you have seen of what occurred with Hamas defies reason and rationality. The only explanation is a demonic spiritual force. Explain without getting too graphic. Keep it PG-13-ish,
Sure.
Victor. For our audience, your whole life experience has been dealing in healing people from the profane and rescuing people from darkness. But you say this is a whole different level of evil. Explain.
Yeah, I mean, for context, we used to have a home in Iraq, and we've helped thousands of women and children affected by ISIS when they rolled into Iraq and Mosul. This reminds us of that, but it's 10 times what we've seen and dealt with. There is no rationale for the evil that's being done. They're fueled by the demonic. Even the Israelis say it. Looking at what they've done, they would, they're in each little home in the kibbutz, there's a safe house because of missiles. Missiles are constantly being, and look, where we were, a missile hit. This is just part of one. I said, I want to be able to show people these are being fired by the thousands. And, I have Kit behind me because at any time we have 7 to 15 seconds to get ready. So with that happening, they're ready. So they have these safe houses. Well, when the alarm sounded, but Hamas was attacking them, the families would go in there and lock the doors. Hamas would set the house on fire. And they would make people choke to death or come out, and then they would simply shoot them. They were shooting them through the door using an AK round, and older people were being shot where they were. Then they would drag them. There were blood trails just being dragged. They were laughing. And the reason why we know so much detail is Hamas fighters had body cams and cell phones, and they were recording the brutality of what they were doing. But then when they were killed, this was able to be recovered. And now you can see what they've done. We have a video with very graphic live footage of what was happening. And I'm happy to share it with anybody who wants to watch this. It's extremely graphic, but it's what has happened and what will continue to happen. And again, this was widespread. It's not just isolated incidents. These guys, the demonic influence, when you're laughing at somebody being burned or shot or trying to crawl away, and you use tools to decapitate them while you're laughing, this is demonic.
Victor, 2,000 people came in to the country and did this almost for sport. As you say, they were laughing. Their material said to target the women and children. You're also a military guy. In closing here, what does justice look like?
Justice is hunting down every person that was involved in this attack. Everyone, over the 2,000 that came in, and hunt them down no matter where they are and bring them to justice by killing them. There are some people that just need to be killed, and these are the ones that should. And then Hamas must be dismantled. Israel will never go back to this being nice to the Palestinians for keeping this Hamas rulership in place. And people need to understand the rulers of Hamas aren't in Gaza. They're in Qatar, they're in other wealthy places, and they're making the people suffer. We must never forget there are good people in Gaza. There are good Palestinians. There are believers there. I have friends.
Yes.
But here I am, who've gone in before, but this time I cannot. And I had a Palestinian general tell me, Victor, don't. Hamas will capture, they'll try to kill you. So our teams are standing by to embed, as we've done before with military forces, that go on and kill terrorists, but we're there to help get children and women out and provide hope and healing for them.
We got to run. Go to victormarks.com. Victor's on the front lines. That just shows Victor's spirit. He wants to go into Gaza, and people say Victor might not be the best time. Victor, we're praying for you, and please rescue as many innocents as you can. Victor, thanks so much.
Thanks for joining us for today's episode. We'd love to stay connected with you and invite you to the conversation beyond this podcast. You can check out more of the work we're doing around the world at victormarks.com, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all linked in the show notes. Be sure to drop us a comment in the review section if today's show has impacted you in any way, or if there's anything you'd like to hear more of. We're always encouraged to hear from you. Thanks for spending your time with us. Until next time.